Om Sadashivasamārambhām Shankaracharya Madhyamām Asmadacharya Paryantāം Vande Guru Paramparām Yada Vidya Vilasena Bhuta Bhautika Srishtayah Tannavami Paramatmanam Satchidananda Vigraham. Last week we were looking at the 6 pramanas, right? Tani pramanani shat. The Vedantins, we accept 6 pramanas. Okay? What are those 6 pramanas? Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, Shabda, Arthapatti, Anupalabdhi. Like this 6 means of knowledge we accept. Pratyaksha means direct knowledge, okay, or directly knowing something, experiencing and knowing it at the same time, directly. That is Pratyaksha. Anumana means you are inferring something based on invariable concomitance, which is what in Sanskritam we call it Vyapti. Okay, so if A is there, then B has to be there. And if B is not there, A will not be there. This is called Anvaya Vyatireka. So the Vyapti or invariable concomitance itself is established using Anvaya and Vyatireka. So for example, wherever there is fire, there will be smoke. Is called Anvaya, because wherever there is fire, smoke is there, like we see in the kitchen. We can say, let us say, okay. Of course, in those days they were having fire by burning wood or charcoal or something, so obviously there was smoke, okay. Then, wherever there is no fire, there is no smoke, like anywhere else, okay, normal ground or on a lake. So, Anvaya is wherever there is fire, there is smoke is called Anvaya, and wherever there is no fire, there is no smoke is called Vyatireka. And based on this, now we can say that wherever there is smoke, there is fire. Okay, so that is the Vyapti. And using the Vyapti, just by seeing the smoke itself, we can infer the fire. That is called Anumana. Then Upamana is based like comparison. Okay, it is the knowledge you gain by comparing. So you know cow, then you go to the forest, and in the forest you see an animal, wild animal, which is called Gavaya. But Gavaya is similar to your cow. So you have the Pratyaksha that you are seeing an animal which is similar to cow, and then further you gain a knowledge that this Gavaya is similar to my cow in this way, in some particular way. Now that knowledge is the Upamiti, okay, that which you are gaining by comparison. And comparison is not inference, because in comparison, both knowledge you have experienced, okay, and it is not based on Vyapti. So that is why you have to count Upamana as a separate means of knowledge. Then Shabda is knowledge from words. So anybody can describe to you things using words, whether it is spoken word or written word. And generally words give us indirect knowledge. In fact, that is what some of the other Purva Bakshis hold, that words can give only indirect knowledge. But for Vedantins, the important thing about Shabda is that it can also give Pratyaksha Jnana. So that is a very important thing for us, because the Mahavakya Janya Jnana itself is supposed, it cannot be indirect, it is direct. Because if the word is giving you knowledge about something which you are already experiencing, then that knowledge is direct knowledge only. It cannot be paroksha or indirect knowledge. So words can give both indirect knowledge and direct knowledge depending on what object they are revealing. This is a very important thing. Then arthapatti is called presumption in English. It is also based on something called anyatha anupapattihi. Otherwise, it is not possible. Using that kind of a logic, we arrive at something. The classical example is that Pino Devadattaha Dinena Bhunte. So, Devadatta, who is stout, let us say, we don't have to say fat. So, this Devadatta does not eat during the day. Okay, he is having some fasting, upavasa. But Devadatta is not losing any weight. For many days you are watching this Devadatta. Devadatta is not eating anything during the day. Then you arrive at a knowledge that he must be eating at night, because otherwise that peanutvam is not possible. Correct? He being stout or fat is not possible. Otherwise it is not possible. Using that, we arrive at this knowledge that Devadatta is eating at night. Now this kind of knowledge which we gain is called arthapatti. Again, this is not vyapti based or invariable concomitance based. Many people include this arthapatti also in anumana, the other people, other darshanas. But arthapatti has to be counted separately because it is not classical inference. Then anupalabdhi also is another pramana we accept. Anupalabdhi means what? Knowing absence of something. Now, we say that Pratyaksha can only reveal presence of something. Pratyaksha does not reveal absence. If you say there is no pot on the table, the Pratyaksha, Indriya Pratyaksha is only revealing the table to you. In your mind, you bring the pot into the context and say, I do not see the pot on the table, therefore I cognize pot's absence on the table. So the cognition of pot absence is called anupalabdhi jnanam, and the fact that you say that or you perceive that the pot is not there on the table is the pramana itself. So like this, 6 different pramanas we accept, and then we go one by one. What is Pratyaksha? Pratyaksha was defined very interestingly as Chaitanyam. Chaitanyam alone is Pratyaksham. Then what kind of Chaitanya it is? Because the Satyam Jnanam Anantam, that which is told or which is indicated by the word Jnana, which is the meaning of Chaitanyam also, cannot be the meaning here because that Jnanam or Chaitanyam is Anadi. So the Purva Pakshi raised this point. Then we said, correct, Chaitanyam, the Swarupa Chaitanya is Anadi. But here, what we mean by Chaitanya is the Chaitanyam which is manifesting through your Antakarana Vritti. Antakarana Vritti itself is a modification of your mind. Okay. Antakarana Vritti means Antakarana Parinama. So your mind or Antakarana changes and takes the form of a particular object, and through that Antakarana Vritti, the awareness manifests itself. That's how you are aware of a particular object. Okay, so we have to say pot consciousness is in your mind. Then you see something else, chair consciousness is. Then you see something else, table consciousness is. So everywhere this mind is taking the form of a particular object, and the consciousness of that object or awareness of that object is manifest through that antakarana vritti or modification of mind. And that Chaitanyam only we are saying as Pratyaksha here. And again, how can we call this vritti as Jnana or Chaitanyam? Because it is only upachara, it is figurative. That also we saw here. Jnanatva avachedakatvat vrittau jnanatva upacharaha. So the vritti is the one through which we come to know of the awareness or Chaitanyam. The awareness or Chaitanyam is manifesting there. See, even space by itself is not cognizable. But if you have a pot, let us say, we can say that there is pot space. And we cognize the pot space, let us say. But in reality, there is no real pot space, correct, as a separate thing. Space is there everywhere. Space is all-pervading. And pot really does not limit the space, even though we talk about a pot space. Similarly, here also, it is very important for you to understand. The antakarana vritti is an avachedaka, we say. Avachedakam means, really it means it is some kind of a limiting factor or a qualifier. But there is no real qualification or limitation. It is all as though only. And in the antakarana vritti, the Chaitanyam is manifest. And we are aware of a particular object. So, that antakarana vritti itself, or the manifestation of the Chaitanyam through the antakarana vritti being there, this is called jnana, figuratively. Even in Vivarana, it is quoted. Okay, so Vivaranacharya says, antakarana vrittau jnanatva upachara, like that. The Vivaranakara also says that, so that this author is quoting to establish that point. So up to this we saw last week. Now continuing, Nanu niravayavasya antakaranasya parinamatmika vrittihi katham. So now this Purva Pakshi is a Nayayika. So Nayayikas have their own theory about mind. What is mind? Okay. So Nayayikas say Sukhadi Upalabdhi Sadhanam Indriyam Manaha. So for them, mind is also an Indriya. In fact, there another Purva Paksha will come based on this. But more importantly here, the Nayayika also says Manas is Paramanu Rupam. Okay. So that means, in fact, we have a atomic theory for a long time now, correct? The Vaisheshika Darshana talks about this atomic theory. Although in school we read something called Dalton's atomic theory and all that. Dalton only found or proposed this atomic theory in 1600 or something, which is, I think, rubbish. Vaisheshikas are all BC. We don't have to go for exact date and all that. All these things, all these darshanas are all BC. That much is good enough, I think. And they talk about this Anu. In this Trenuk, they talk about something called Trenuk is the smallest thing which is perceivable by a human being. Then below this Trenuk is something called Dvanuk is there. So three Dvanuks form a Trenuk. And again Dvanuk itself is made up of two Paramanus. And Paramanus are the smallest particles, you can say. And since you cannot further divide them, Paramanus are all Niravayava. They are partless. Understand that. Two partless Paramanus come together and form a Dvanuk. Up to Dvanuk, it is all Savayava. Because a Dvanuk can still be broken down into two Paramanus. But paramanu itself is the smallest and it is not visible also. Then what is the pramana for this paramanu and all, we don't know. Naiyayikas and Vaisheshikas, they accept this and they have built a whole darshana based on this. So, anyway, according to them, mind is paramanu rupa. That means mind is niravayava. Mind does not have any parts. A partless mind. So the question here is, mind being partless, niravayavasya antakaranasya, parinamatmika vrittihi katham. If it is partless, how can it change? Only those things which have parts can change or modify themselves. A partless thing cannot change. That is another logic here. Okay. So that is the question here. According to them, mind is niravayava because mind is paramanu. And since it is niravayava, no niravayava vastu can have any parinama. They cannot have any modification. They cannot change in any way. So how can you even talk about antakarana vritti? Because antakarana vritti is nothing but antakarana parinama. It is some kind of a modification of the mind, the internal organ. Okay. So that is how we talk about it. So this is the question now. Now for that we are answering. Katham means ittam. How means like this we say. Na tavad antakaranam niravayavam. So straight away we don't accept their contention. We say antakarana is not niravayava. Why? Because it is sadhi dravyatvena savayavatva. So it is something which has beginning. Antakarana has a beginning. Okay, it is a dravya, it is a substance which has a beginning. And it is also having parts, savayava. So then the Naiyayika can ask us, what is the pramana for this? How can you say that mind has a beginning? So mind is a substance with beginning and also parts. How can you say that? So for that, we are now quoting the Shruti. There is a Brihadaranyaka Shruti is quoted here. Sadhitvam cha tan manaha asrijata ityadi shrutehe. So it is very clear here. This Brahman, along with the Maya Shakti, only created this mind. So like that, there is a Brihadaranyaka Shruti is quoted here. So from this we know that mind, if it is created, means it has to have a beginning. Okay, because according to Naiyayika, in fact, even this is only with respect to the Naiyayika, understand that, because for them, any substance, they define it as pragabhava pratiyogi. Okay. Now what is the meaning of this? The Naiyayikas are all called asatkaryavadi. They are all called asatkaryavadi. Why? Because they say something is not present before it is created. For example, a pot is not there before the creation of the pot. When the potter then starts creating the pot with the mud and the wheel and all that, at some point in time, the pot becomes, like it was not there, it is there now. Okay, like that. In one kshana, the pot is not there, the next kshana, it gets created. That means a non-existent pot came into existence. So they define the pot itself as a pragabhava pratiyogi. Means what? Pratiyogi means opposing or opponent or something which is opposite. Pragabhava means whatever was not there before, correct? The previous abhava. The abhava or absence before something is created is called pragabhava. And the thing itself is now the opponent of its own previous non-existence. Okay, is this point clear? I hope some of this Nyaya theory also you have to understand, because here they are the main Purvapakshis. Anyway, what we were saying is, according to the Nayayika, anything which is created has a beginning. Okay, because that thing did not exist before, and then it comes into existence post creation or during the creation itself. Okay. In fact, Vedantins, we don't accept that, understand that. For us, everything exists always. A non-existent thing can never become existent. An existent thing can never become non-existent also. It is all only manifest and unmanifest for us. The existent part only is manifest by the potter, because the pot is there potentially in its upadana karanam, which is clay. So pot was there in the clay already. All we are doing is we are making it manifest. So the bangle is already there in the gold. Chain is already there in the gold. The effort is put only to bring a particular unmanifest karya to make it manifest karya. Understand that. That is where the effort or creation itself is nothing but whatever was unmanifest, we make it manifest. That is creation for us. So anyway, here we tell him that since the Shruti says mind was created, that means it is Sadi. Okay, it has a beginning. Then further what? Vritti Rupa Jnanasya Manodharmatvecha. Again, how can you say this Vritti Rupa Jnana is a quality of the mind? Because we are defining it as only a Manovritti. The Chaitanyam which is manifesting through the Manovritti alone, we are calling it as Pratyaksha. Okay. So how can you say that? For that we are saying that for that also we are again quoting the Shruti. The Brihadaranyaka Shruti we are quoting. What is the Brihadaranyaka Shruti here? Kamaha, Sankalpaha, Vichikitsa, Shraddha, Ashraddha, Dhritihi, Adhritihi, Krihi, Dhihi, Bhihi, Ityetat Sarvam Manayeva, Iti Shrutihi Manam. So this is the Brihadaranyaka Shruti. This is our pramana to say that even this knowledge or intelligence which we define is nothing but a manodharma. It is a modification of the mind only. It is a quality of the mind. How do we say? For that this Shruti is the pramana for us. So this Shruti says kamaha means desire. Sankalpaha. Sankalpa we all do, correct? Before we do any karma, we do a sankalpa. So we take a pratignya or we take a resolution that I am going to do that. So sankalpa can be called as resolution, resolve. Then vichikitsa, shraddha, ashraddha. So doubt, then shraddha and ashraddha also. So we trust something, we don't trust something. We have faith on somebody, we don't have faith on somebody. Like that. Then dhritihi means being steadfast about something. It's called dhriti. Dhiraha. Okay, we say dhriti. Adhritihi also. Not being steadfast. Moving from one thing to another. Then hrihi, dhihi. Hrihi means shame. Then dhihi. We are actually interested only in this dhihi here. Then dhi means fear. So all these things are nothing but mind only. Like this, the Shruti is saying. In this, we are particularly interested in the word dhi here. So that's what the author further says. Dhi shabdena vritti rupa jnana abhidhanam. So from this word dhi, what do we understand? Dhi means we can say intelligence or knowledge. So from this what do we understand? Knowledge also is nothing but mind only. It is a state of mind. It is a modification of mind or a quality of the mind only. So the Shruti is actually pointing out with Vritti Rupa Jnana only with this word dhi here. So we have a pramana. We have a pramana for Adimatvam. That means mind is having a beginning, and all these different things are all mind only. Like this Shruti itself is saying. That means mind has all these different dharmas, we can say, different qualities. Or mind takes the form of all these things, whichever way you put it. So atayeva kamadehe api manodharmatvam. So not only this dhi, even this kama, sankalpa, vichikitsa, all these things are all only qualities of mind. So like this we establish this point. So for us Shruti is very important, understand that. We don't go only by logic. In fact, Nayayikas say so many things for which there is no real pramana. So every darshana starts with some assumption, correct? And then they build on that. The first assumption is they say that there are some 7 padarthas. That's how the whole Nyaya Shastra itself starts. Okay, they start Dravya, Guna, Karma, Samanya, Vishesha, Samavaya, Abhavaha, Sapta Padarthaha. Like this they categorize the substances as 7 types. Or there are 7 substances. That's a reality for them. So we can't even accept that. We say Sadeva Saumya Idam Agre Ekameva Advitiyam. Sadeva Saumya Idam Agre Asit Ekameva Advitiyam. That is what we are saying. Nayayika is more like our modern scientist. Modern scientists are very good at categorizing things and then specializing in one particular thing. So nowadays a specialist is whom? A specialist is a person who knows more and more about less and less. So in a particular narrow area you keep on doing research, you study all the existing whatever knowledge which is already there and you try to expand that in some way with your own research. And that is how this whole scientific knowledge is progressing. So that means if you are a specialist in something, you know more and more about a small subject matter only, less and less. So anyway, so here even this statement that there are 7 padarthas itself has no basis. They just start like that and then build an entire darshana. So many things on top of that they build it. Okay. So what I am saying is, for them there is no basis. For us, everything is based on the Shruti. So Shruti is our Pratishtha. We establish everything based on what our Shruti is saying. That's why even in the Brahma Sutra, Vyasa says, Tarkasya Apratishthana. There is no Pratisthana for Tarka. They have some axioms of their own. Their assumptions are there. They start from there and they build something, a whole castle. But there is no foundation at all. In fact, the foundation itself is shaky. There is no real foundation. They keep on building stories upon stories, so many floors. Everything will fall away because there is no real foundation. So here we are quoting the Shruti to say that mind is Savayavam. And all these different things are nothing but qualities of mind only. And mind has a beginning also because it is created. Like this we have established. Now further, another question comes now. So here another interesting thing is for the Nayayika again, Atma, they define Atma as Jnana Adhikaranam Atma. Okay. So that means wherever this knowledge or Jnana resides, that is Atma. So it is a Atma Dharma for them. So even when you say Aham Ichchami, Aham Janami, so I desire, I know, I am afraid or I fear. All these things they directly take it as the Dharma of Atma itself. For us Atma is Niravayava, Nirvikalpa. In reality, Atma cannot have any of these feelings or emotions, or even Atma is not even a knower. But that point only now the Nayayika is bringing. You say this Ichcha and Dhi, all these things are Manodharma. Then what about this Vyavahara? In this transactional world, people say I know. People say I desire, and people say I fear. So that means these are all Antakarana Dharma, how can you say? Because these are all Atma Dharma, they are not Antakarana Dharma. Okay? So that's what here he says, Nanu Kamadehe Antakarana Dharmatve Aham Ichchami, Aham Janami, Aham Bibhemi, Ityadi Anubhavaha Atma Dharmatvam Avagahamanaha Katham Upapadyate. So Katham Upapadyate means how do you explain this? How do you come to this conclusion? Okay, it is inexplicable. According to you, if you say this Kama and Sankalpa and Dhi etc. are all Manodharma, then but the experience is what? The Loka Anubhava is Aham Ichchami, Aham Janami, Aham Didemi. So I desire, I know, I fear. All this Anubhava only points to the fact that these things are all Dharma of the Atma and not the mind. How can you then say these things are all Manodharma? Like this question comes. So for this the author now answers Uchyate. So okay, this is what is said regarding this. What is that? Ayah Pindasya Dagdritva Abhaveti Dagdritva Ashraya Vanhi Tadatmya Adhyasat Yatha Ayodhati iti Vyavahara. So very straightforward answer. So Ayah Pindaha means what? An iron rod, let us say, correct? A piece of iron, basically. So the piece of iron does not have the quality of burning you. Iron cannot burn you. It's just a metal. So Ayah Pindasya Dagdritva Abhaveti. So even though the piece of iron does not have the quality of burning you, but what if you heat it up? What happens? Dagdritva Asya Vanhi. So the fire is now residing in the iron, correct? If you heat up the iron, the fire now resides in the iron, and fire and iron are there together, correct? That is the Tadatmya. And since the fire and iron are there together, and now if you touch it, it will burn your hand. And then people can say this iron has burnt me, correct? This iron burnt me. Like that Vyavahara can be there. But that does not establish that the iron is actually having the quality of burning. It is actually the fire there which is burning you and not the iron itself. It's only an adhyasa. It is only a way of speech, correct? It's a figure of speech only. So Ayodhati iti Vyavahara is possible. The iron burnt me, like this somebody can say. But the piece of iron does not have the quality of burning. That has come from the Agni or fire which is now there in the heated iron piece. Similarly, Tatha Sukhadi akara parinami antakarana aikya adhyasat aham sukhi, aham dukhi ityadi vyavaharaha jayate. So similarly, the mind only has all this Sukhadi akara. Sukha, dukkha, etc. are nothing but states of mind or modifications of mind. Sukhadi akara parinami. So mind is the one which modifies in the form of sukha, etc. But the atma and antakarana are superimposed or taken as one. Okay, antakarana aikya adhyasat. So atma and antakarana are taken as one and the same. And because of this adhyasa only, one says, I am happy, I am sad, etc. So, because of this vyavahara is possible. So, the vyavahara itself does not establish anything. The vyavahara is purely based on adhyasa. It does not establish the fact that Atma only has the dharma of sukha and dukkha. So, according to us, only the mind has this sukha dukkha parinama. So like this we answer that. Is it clear? So now further another question is raised. Now this is the one based on the Indriya. So according to the Naiyayika, mind is Sukhadi Upalabdhi Sadhanam Indriyam. Okay. That's how they define mind itself. So, but here, based on that, they are raising a question. So, for them, mind itself is an Indriya, it is a sense organ. For the Vedantin, there are only 5 sense organs. Pancha Indriya only. Mind is not looked upon as a separate sense organ. But for the Naiyayika, mind also is a sense organ. It is an Indriya. And the implication of that is, an Indriya can only make other things known through it. That Indriya itself is Atindriya. You cannot see your eyes using the eye. Okay? But using the eyes you can see other things. But your eye, which is an Indriya, itself is Atindriya. It is not available to you. So similarly, he says, he is holding on to the point now that Antakarana is an Indriya, and since it is Indriya, it is Atindriya. Okay, it cannot be known through the Indriya itself. Because previously we have said, the Sukha, Dukkha, etc. is the qualities of mind. If they are qualities of mind, then they cannot be known. That is what this question is implying. Because Indriyas themselves cannot be known directly. And their dharma or their qualities also one cannot know directly. Using the Indriyas we can know other things. That is the point here. So, right now the questioner or the Purva Pakshi raises a question that mind being an Indriya and Indriya itself being Atindriya, how can that mind itself and its dharma like Sukha, Dukkha, etc. can become Pratyaksha Vishaya? They cannot be directly known through Pratyaksha. That is the question here. So, Nanu Antakaranasya Indriyataya Atindriyatvat Katham Pratyaksha Vishayata iti. Like that, this person is questioning. So, the Pratyaksha Vishayata cannot be there for mind and its dharma and its qualities. So, that means one can never know Aham, Sukhi, Dukhi, all these things. Because mind itself is an Indriya. And they even define Pratyaksha as Indriya Artha Sannikarsha Janya Jnanam. So, Indriya and Artha have a contact. And due to the contact of this sense organ and the object only, this Pratyaksha Jnanam is born. But in that, the Indriya itself cannot be known. Only the object can be known. That is their theory of knowledge. So based on that, now he is saying, and mind being an Indriya, its dharma cannot be known. So, how are you going to answer this? That is the question. So for this again author says, Uchyate. So this is what we say. We do not accept your contention that mind is an Indriya. First. So, na tavat antakaranam indriyam ityatra manamasti. So there is no pramana to say that antakarana is an Indriya. Like this we say. Now for this, the Purva Pakshi can say something. Like in the Bhagavad Gita, there in the 15th chapter it says, Manashashtani indriyani prakristani karshati shariram yadavapnoti yachapyutkramati ishvaraha. Like that it goes, the 15th chapter. So here, the phrase comes, Manashashtani indriyani. So the 6 things, okay, 6 things are listed, mind and indriyas, and mind as the 6th. Okay, indriyas and mind as the 6th. Like that, Bhagavan is talking about. So you cannot now quote this and say that mind also is an indriya. Like that, it is said here. So, Manashashtani indriyani iti Bhagavad Gita vachanam pramanam iti chetna. So okay, we said that there is no pramana to say that antakarana is indriya. So for this the Purva Pakshi can say this Bhagavad Gita vachana is there, Manashashtani indriyani. So I will quote this as the pramanam. So how can you say there is no pramana? So for that we say Anindriyenapi manasa Shattva Sankhya Purana Avirodha. So here it is said that Indriyas and mind as the 6th. Okay, out of there are 6 things, Indriyas with mind as the 6th. If you say, that doesn't mean the 6th is also an Indriya. Mind can still be an Anindriya and it can still be the 6th in this group of 6 things. There is no virodha in that. Like this we give an answer, and in fact we even quote a Shruti to substantiate our point. Nahi indriya gata sankhya puranam indriye naiva iti niyamaha. So when we are talking about a group of indriyas or a group of things in which the majority are of some things, some category. Now in that there can be something else also. It need not be an indriya. So let us say we are talking about a group of indriyas. In that, one thing can be, if you are talking about a group, in that to create a group of a particular number, okay, group of particular number of elements, one element can be of some other type also. All of them need not be of the same type. That is what this author is saying here. For this, a Shruti is quoted. What is the Shruti? Yajamana Panchama Idam Bhakshayanti Ityatra Ritvig Gata Panchatva Sankhyayaha Andritvijapi Yajamanena Purana Darshana. Okay, so what do we say here is, there is a Sudhi Vakya which says Yajamana Panchama Idam Bhakshayanti. So they all eat. These 5 people with Yajamana as the 5th have to eat the rice in a particular karma. Okay. Now in this, Yajamana is the 5th. The other 4 are all the Ritviks. Okay. So there are Ritviks representing each Veda also. There is a Rig Veda and then there is a Yajurveda Ritvik. Like that, there are Ritvik for each Veda along with the 4 Ritviks, the Yajamana also has to eat. Bhakshayanti. They all eat. So here, even though the Yajamana is talked about as the 5th in a group of Ritviks, he is not really a Ritvik. The Yajamana is not a Ritvik. The other 4 are only the Ritviks. But in a group of 5, the Yajamana also is included, even though the Yajamana is not a Ritvik, but is included as the 5th person. The group who are supposed to eat. Okay. So like this we are giving a quotation from the Veda, and we are saying that so mind being the 6th along with the Indriyas does not prove that mind also is a Indriya. Like this, one example we are given. In fact, another example also we are giving here. So, Veda Anadhyapayamasa Mahabharata Panchaman Ityadau Vedagata Panchatva Sankhyayaha Avedenapi Bharatena Purana Darshanat. Okay, so you do Adhyapayamasa, Vedan Adhyapayamasa means you study the Vedas with Mahabharata as the 5th. Like this sentence is saying. Okay. So this also here Mahabharata is included as the 5th when they are talking about studying the Vedas. So here again Mahabharata is not a Veda. Vedas are only 4, but Mahabharata is included as the 5th to do the Adhyayana, let us say. So even though Mahabharata is not the Veda, Avedenapi Bharatena Purana Darshanat Sankhyayaha Puranam. So the number 5, the 5th can be also something which is not a Veda. Because even in this sentence, although it says you do Adhyayana of the Veda with Mahabharata as the 5th. Like this sentence is saying. So here also, based on this, you cannot say that Mahabharata is a Veda. Although in generally we say Mahabharata is a Panchama Veda. Like that also there is the tradition we say, there is a quote. But Mahabharata cannot be considered as a Veda. So like this, the Sankhya Purana Vidhi is talked about here. So just because something is added to a particular group as an additional element does not make it also as that type. That was shown. But now we are showing some other Shruti also to establish our point even clearly. So here we are saying Indriyebhyaha parahi arthaha arthebhyascha paramanaha. Like this there is a Shruti is there. This is Kathopanishad. So here it is clearly said Indriyebhyaha hi para artha. Artha here means the objects of the senses, and even more than that is what? Mind. Arthebhyascha param manaha. So it is Shrutya Manasaha Anindriyatva Avagamat. So if Manas is an Indriya, here it will not be listed separately as something which is higher than the objects of your senses. Okay, so the sense objects are talked about as Param with reference to the senses themselves. Indriyebhyaha para arthaha and arthebhyascha param manaha. So here it is clearly stated that mind is separate from the Indriyas. So this Shruti is our pramana. Manasaha anindriyatva avagamat. Here so it is very clearly said. So using these two, one is basically a logic, the other is a Shruti Vakya. We establish that mind is not an Indriya. So if mind is not an Indriya, your objection that if mind is an Indriya, then it itself is Atindriya and its dharma cannot be perceived or cognized does not hold good. anymore. Mind is not an indriyam. Okay. So like this we answer the Purvapakshi. Now continuing, nacha evam manasaha anindriyatve sukadi pratyakshasya sakshatkaratvam na syat indriya ajanyatvat iti vachyam. So this is again Nayayika. So I told you Nayayika defines jnana as indriyartha sannikarsha janyam. This pratyaksha jnana itself is defined according to them as something which is born out of contact between the sense organ and an object. Now if you say Manas has all these dharmas, which is sukha, dukkha, etc., still it cannot be known directly. Sakshatkaratvam nasyat, they are saying. Manasaha. Okay, you are quoting from Shruti and all that, so I accept. Manas need not be an indriya, fine. But still, this manodharma, which you say are sukha, dukkha, etc., cannot be known. Because if it is qualities of mind, then the indriyas themselves don't have any access to these qualities of mind. So it cannot be known. Like this now they are raising a new objection, because to have pratyaksha jnanam, the contact between the indriya or the sense organ and the sense object is required. Now if you say sukha, dukkha, etc. are all qualities of mind, then they will not have any contact with any indriya, and then so they cannot be perceived as pratyaksha. So direct knowledge of sukha, dukkhadi are not possible according to your contention. Like this now they are raising an objection. So that is why now we are answering differently. We are saying, I don't accept your definition of pratyaksha, because according to Nayayika, pratyaksha is indriyartha sannikarsha janya jnanam. We do not accept that. So only if that is accepted, what you say is true, but we do not accept your contention. So that is the answer we are giving here. Nahi indriya janyatvena jnanasya sakshatvam. So to know something directly, the direct knowledge or direct cognition does not depend on the fact that it has to be born out of contact between indriya and an object. That thing itself we do not accept. Why? Because we are now raising some holes in the Nayayika's theory of knowledge. So we say even inference etc. are all born from mind only, correct? In mind only we think about the vyapti, because we only cognize the smoke. Then we bring in the vyapti or the invariable concomitants and then say wherever there is smoke there has to be fire. So I infer fire, let us say. By seeing smoke I can infer fire. All these things are also born only from the mind. So if you say that Manas is an indriya and indriyartha sannikarsha janyam is jnanam, is pratyaksham, then according to your definition, anumana also will become direct knowledge. But anumana is indirect knowledge only. Anumana is not direct knowledge. So we do not accept your contention that indriyartha sannikarsha janya or indriya janyam only is direct knowledge. Direct knowledge means it has to be produced through an indriya. This fact we do not accept. Further, another point also we are giving here, Ishvara jnanasya anindriya janyasya sakshatva anapattescha. So another point is what Ishvara, even according to Nayayika, Ishvara is Sarvajnaha. That means Ishvara need not use any indriya. any means to know. Because Ishvara also is constrained to use a particular indriya to know something. Ishvara cannot be sarvajna, all-knowing. So the all-knowingness of Ishvara is independent of using any particular pramana to know things. The all-knowing upadhi is already there. And so, if you say that all sakshat jnanam has to be indriya janya means, then Ishvara jnanam also will become indirect. Then Ishvara will never have any sakshat jnana according to your contention. So like this, the answer. So here we are only pointing out the defects in the definition of the Nayayika. So now Nayayika asks us, okay, what do you say about Pratyaksha then? What is your theory of Pratyaksha? Our theory of Pratyaksha is Indriyartha Sannikarsha Janya Jnanam Pratyaksham. Now what do you say? So they are Siddhante Pratyakshatva Prayojakam Kimiti Chet. So if you ask us in our Siddhanta, how do we talk about this Pratyaksha? Okay, how do we give Lakshana for Pratyaksha? And again, how is it, on what basis this definition is given? Kim Jnanagatasya Pratyakshatasya Prayojakam Pritchasi Kim va Vishayagatasya. So if you ask us how this Pratyaksha is defined, then we further ask that Pratyaksha as a knowledge or Pratyaksha as an object, because the word Pratyaksha in Sanskrit is used both for as a qualifier for an object and also as a qualifier for knowledge. So many times we say that this object is Pratyaksha. Right? If you can see something in front of your eyes, we say that that particular object is Pratyaksha object. So the word Pratyaksha is used with reference to an object also, and we also say this jnanam, that I know this part, is Pratyaksha jnanam, it is direct knowledge. So the word Pratyaksha is used with reference to an object, it is also used with reference to the knowledge which you have. So we ask now, in which way you want to know, or in which way you are asking us. So anyway, for both we will talk about it. So here he says Adye. Adye means now Pratyaksha as a knowledge, okay, with reference to the knowledge Pratyaksha Jnanam. We will talk about what is Pratyaksha Jnanam. Adye pramana chaitanyasya Vishaya avachinna chaitanya abhedaha iti bhramaa. So how do we define Pratyaksha Jnanam according to us? So here we are defining it as pramana chaitanyasya Vishaya avachinna chaitanya abhedaha. So here pramana is the vritti, manovritti. So what we say is, see, according to Vedanta, everything is consciousness. The content of the world also is consciousness. The content of the observer also is consciousness. See, the modern science is having a problem because modern science tries to reduce everything to, again, they are also like these Vaisheshika people only. They are reducing everything to atom, even lesser than that, correct? Electron, proton, neutron, quantum particles, quarks, they keep going. They are looking for fundamental building blocks of the universe, and they have still not found. And again, even in science, there is no explanation how all these quarks and electrons again have become all this variegated creation. There is no explanation they cannot give. That is Maya, correct? That is Ishvara's Maya. It is, even if you break down everything to a few fundamental building blocks, from that you have this macro world which is so rich in diversity, correct? How did all these things come? Even science, I don't think, has any answer for that. They simply say, okay, all these things got together. If so many electrons and neutrons and proton is there, then it becomes this element. That's all they can say. Why should these electrons and protons and neutrons become like this element? They don't have any answer. So they have their own periodic table, elements, and then elementals. From that, this whole world is defined in terms of all that. But there is no consciousness anywhere in the science, in modern science, because they don't understand consciousness also. Even now, although they are trying to study about consciousness seriously, they are having problems. And again, why this consciousness even came into the picture, because till some 100 years back, science was supposed to be only purely objective study of the objective world and the truth of the objective world. But then with quantum physics, the observer also became important, because if you measure something, whether light is a wave or a particle depends on the observer. Okay. So all this wave particle duality, and again the quantum level, they talk about the observer is very important. Observer only collapses a particular quantum system. Like this they talk. Then what is an observer then? They have no definition for that also properly. Because the observer also, if the observer is another quantum system, if brain alone is the observer, then that will go into infinite regress. Okay, that is a paradox which is there still in physics, I think. So they have not found even in the objective world, they have not found the building blocks. The subject or the observer also, they don't know who the observer is, but they are still doing science. It is okay. They are still searching for the truth. But Advaita, our Vedanta is very clear. The entire thing is only Chaitanya, consciousness. So our theory of knowledge also is based on that both the observer and the observed are nothing but consciousness. That's why we define even direct knowledge or Pratyaksha as Chaitanya. Science can never define like this, because for them it is like some light travels through, like light hits a particular object, it gets reflected, then it hits your eyes, and somehow through the optic nerve then you perceive the objects and all that. They have their own theory. Okay. But our theory is based on Chaitanya. It is not based on some external things. So that is what we have to understand. Anyway, we will continue this discussion next week. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.